The first use case you think about blockchain is payments, right? So that's the first thing you want to do is show that you can secure a payment mechanism just like Visa, Mastercard, but much more secure without middlemen, take away the fees, offers economies of scale. So the more people use it, the cheaper it gets. The way we view the future of long term, 3 to 5 to 10 years, we view layer 1 blockchains will essentially become like the new republics. These will be the new mechanisms where all the value is going to proliferate to the future. There'll be the layer 1 blockchain, there will be the mining market, there'll be the dApps, and there'll be tokens. So the lower you get in the stack, the lower risk you have, but the lower rewards. The highest risk reward will be on the layer 1 blockchain, because that's where all the value will flow up. But it's highest value, highest risk. We view layer 1 blockchains, which is Bitcoin, Syscoin, Ethereum, as court systems. They need to be combative to the external forces that we don't control, even in the software world. In the real world, like inflation, hyperinflation, wars, these systems need to be secure from that. And this is why we view Bitcoin as the gold standard for security and decentralization. What else does the world need? What else does the world cherish when you have something like Bitcoin? How can we extend that to something else where we can take advantage to build real world utility? This is where Ethereum comes in. For me, Ethereum is a gold standard for flexibility or general computation. We're trying to stick to the gold standards we know the world's going to cherish and develop on, and we put those two concepts together. And this is what Syscoin is.
Okay, so that escalated really, really fast. Funny thing is, I woke up this morning and I said, the CBDC is coming. And I checked my Twitter, and sure enough, somebody linked me to the story about the CBDC is coming. I was going to do my stream today. I was going to do one later today on elections. I'm still going to do my later stream on elections later. But in case you're not familiar, I am
that Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep, that Hotep, that Hotep, that Hotep, that Hotep, that Hotep Jesus dude.
Welcome to my stream. Shout out to my sponsor, Syscoin, the best of Bitcoin, the best of Ethereum, using UTXO technology, merge mining. Wonderful, wonderful piece of technology. We're talking about handling transactions just as fast, if not faster than Visa. I've been diving into my studies on blockchain technology, preparing for Decentricon Miami, which will be at the end of this month. I think it's the 27th to the 28th. I'll be hosting Scalability on the main stage. I'll be a moderator. So I've been studying. I'll be a blockchain intermediate expert in 2 weeks. That's my goal. I've stopped studying everything. And I've been exclusively reading crypto, blockchain technology papers, and I'm feeling very geeky now. And I'll be very geeky. And it's only been 24 hours, and I feel like I know enough. A lot. I shouldn't say damn near not enough, but I know a lot already. Enough to know when I smell shit, when I smell a problem, when something smells fishy. I know enough to know when something's fishy. And I was going to start my stream today at 1:30, but while I was reading the press release from the banks today, I ran across some information. And we'll go through that. Today is big brain content. I'm sorry. I know some of you come for the more low brain content, but this is big brain content, so it could get boring. I apologize. I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. I know you guys want to talk about elections and whatnot, but we'll talk about that later, and I'll show you why I don't think fraud is the reason why, although there was some fishy dealings with. Anyway, we'll get to that later. If you want to build on one of the best blockchain technologies out there in the world, go to hotepjesus.com, hit the Syscoin button, fill out the form, and somebody will reach out to you from Syscoin team shortly. They're incentivized to do so. Once again, it's hotepjesus.com/Syscoin, or hit the Syscoin button there on my page. Wow. Okay. This will be a call-in show. I did figure out how to bring the call-in panel to another screen so we don't dox our callers like I did last time. So we figured out a solution so we don't dox our callers. So you don't have to worry about that. And so it'll be a call-in show. I'm hoping to hear from some blockchain experts or finance experts. Anybody's welcome to call in, but that's who I'm looking to speak to. So if you're a blockchain expert specifically, I need you to identify yourself in the chat. Chat, help me identify that person in the chat so we can get them to call in first and foremost. And with that being said, let's hop right into today's presentation. So first things first. Last week we covered SBF, right? Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX scandal, the implications of the Democratic Party. Later on, we'll go into how the New York Times, that's my later stream. Tonight, I'll go into the New York Times and how they sort of glazed over the whole Democratic thing. And I haven't had a chance to read that article yet, but we'll cover that later. We'll talk about elections later and why I think that fraud wasn't the reason they lost, but something even worse is to blame, if that's even possible. But so right now, political Twitter is catching up on the SBF, FTX fiasco. That's like everybody's been spending last week. We covered that last week. So everybody's doing that now. The thing is, that was the Reichstag burning for the CBDC. So today we have, a press release from the banks saying that they are test piloting a CBDC, a 12-week program. So while people are covering that Sam Bankman-Fried, maybe a few days from now, your favorite political pundit will catch up and they'll be covering this a few days from now. So we'll have to dive into that now to get you guys this jumpstart on what's going on in the world. First of all, shout out to my followers. My followers keep me up to date on all the things that they know I'm interested in. They're always tagging me in stories, and I truly appreciate you guys. You guys are the MVP, and you alerted me to this story, and I thank you very much for doing so, because I cannot have eyes everywhere, but you guys are my eyes everywhere. So let's see. Let's dive into it. So, and I'm just going to, you know how I do. I show you my journey and how I find information. So let's just run through it. Hold on. Let me just make sure I can see my chatters. I love you guys. You guys are my fam. I just want to make sure. Okay, so my chatters are there. Type Hotep in the box if everything's all good. Chatters, type Hotep in the box. Rex Tillian, I see you over there in Rumble. You're a blockchain guy. Okay, do me a favor. I want you to type the area code that you'll be calling in from into the chat. So when we have the call in, you can speak to me. Chat, please alert me if there's somebody in the chat who's a blockchain expert. Please just type their name over and over again in the chat so I can identify them and put their first three digits of their the area code that they're calling in from. Okay, so let's go into this story now. So this starts from, my journey started with a Reuters article, banking giants and New York Fed start 12-week digital pilot. And, you know, I got here, I skimmed through it and I saw it was really short and I'm like, all right, this ain't enough. So I went to another article and that led me to the actual press release. I don't remember what article it was, but it doesn't matter. Here we are. This is the actual press release. And this comes from Business Wire, a Berkshire Hathaway company. And this could have been issued through like a company by the name of PR Log, but that's, anyway, we're getting off topic. Let's stay on topic. Members of the U.S. banking community launched proof of concept for a regulated digital asset settlement platform. Now, if you notice, I only have highlights in the first paragraph because I wanted to get this stream out ASAP, mostly because I got things to do today. I ran across this piece of information. I'll show you right here. It says members of the U.S. banking community today announced the launch of a proof of concept project that will explore the feasibility of an interoperable digital money platform known as Regulated Liability Network. So I finished reading this paragraph and then I had to go search Regulated Liability Network. And that's when I got hit with the but we're going to come back to that shortly. Okay, so it says using distributed ledger technology, the proposed platform would create innovation opportunities to improve financial settlements and would include participation from central banks, commercial banks in various sizes, and regulated non-banks, right? Cool. We've been working to get regulated. Okay, so RadMax looks like they might be an expert. RadMax, I'm going to need you to call in after this presentation. Take notes on what you want to talk about and helping me work through this. Mostly the RLN, the Regulated Liability Network. I want to talk heavily about that. I have not read the rest of this, so when I read this, we're reading this together because I spent about 20 minutes just on the Regulated Liability Network. Wait till you see that rabbit hole, like I said. Okay, so a 12-week proof of concept, which has a version of the RLN design that operates exclusively in U.S. dollars, where commercial banks issue simulated digital money or tokens representing the deposits of their own customers. A settled through simulated central bank reserves on a shared multi-entity distributed ledger. I'll wait till we go into the RLN thing to explain why this sounds like layer 2 solutions on the layer 1. And for people that not in blockchain, studying blockchain, this stuff is going to go over your head, but you'll learn a lot today. Again, big brain. Here's what we have to remember. In the future, if you want to be free, you're going to need to be big brained. There is no more, like right now we're in a society where people are operating off of interest in small brain topics. They have small brains and they run around screaming liberty, give us free or something like that. Well, in the future, liberty or freedom's going to be freedom's a choice, right? Slavery's a choice, as Kanye would say. It's going to be a choice. And a lot of it is going to be how digitally adept you are. And you have many people operating at a digital level right now that are completely sovereign and not under the control of the United States banking system like the Federal Reserve, because they're operating 100% under digital currencies. OK, so we have to remember that. So the smarter you are, the more free you're going to be is the point I'm trying to make here. So if you're not interested in big brain technology, just go back to Master's Plantation. And it's always been that way. Like the smarter you are, the less it is, the less, the harder it is for your master to keep you under control. That's why they were trying to keep slaves away from books. Knowledge is power, and knowledge is freedom, and information is money. Okay, so where are we? Okay, the proof of concept will also test the feasibility of a programmable digital money design that is potentially extensible to other digital assets, as well as the viability of a proposed system within existing laws and regulations. So other digital assets, right? It's going to be, a myriad of things. Members of the U.S., including and not including cryptocurrency, members of the U.S. banking and payments community involved in this proof of concept, as listed further, are pleased to be working alongside the New York Innovation Center that is part of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Let's highlight that. The NYIC collaborates with the private and public sectors on innovations aimed at enhancing the functioning of the global financial system and the ability of central banks to carry out their missions. Information about the, so other aspects of the proof of concept. So it says regulatory framework. The platform will align the existing regulatory framework and preserve existing requirements for deposit-based payments processing, notably maintaining know your customer and anti-money laundering requirements. So know your customer, aka KYC, will be built into this platform. Right. And then your AML requirements. So, Congress, you don't need Congress anymore. You don't need a judge. The only time you'll need a judge is when actually you won't even need a judge. You won't even need a judge. They're going to completely stop money laundering, at least through this medium. You're not going to be able to do it. They might be able to do it, but you're not going to be able to do it. They'll be able, or at least monitor it at a very high level. Right? So I'm going Worst case, best case, right? Best case, they'll be monitoring it at a high level. Worst case, they're going to stop it in its tracks because they're like, what is this? Who is this? What? No, we didn't approve this. And we'll show you that later when we break down the RLN. Okay, so the POC, it's not stand for people of color, it stands for proof of concept, will simulate digital money issued by regulated institutions in U.S. dollars, although the concept could potentially be extended to multi-currency operations and regulated stablecoins. And we're going to show you that later. We're going to show you that in just a few. Tokens. The POC will simulate tokens that are 100% fungible and redeemable with other forms of money. Industry collaboration. The POC will include dialogue with the broader U.S. banking community, including community and regional banks. Yeah, that's expected. Results. Following the conclusion of the POC, the banking group will publicize the results, which they hope will be an important contribution to the literature on digital money. So at this point, what I got to do is I have to create a Google alert, right? So when these things pop up, we go to Google Alerts. Let's go to Google Alerts. Okay, cool. Let's type in here RLN. Let's type in the full name. Regulated Liability Network. Yes. Okay, let's type this in. Regulated Liability Network. Show options. Actually, wrong account. Let's go to this account. Okay, here we go. We're going to go Regulated Liability Network. Here, I'll show you guys what I'm doing. So I've gone to Google Alerts and I typed in Regulated Liability Network. And this is going to alert me. It's going to send me an email. I'm going to say, send it to me as it happens. Let's do any region. I want only the best results. Send it to my email address there and hit create alert. Okay, so now whenever a regulated liability network is mentioned, I will get an email from our overlords at Google. Okay, now let's go back. So, mostly because I want to know about this test. Right? Okay, so where are we? Let me make sure you guys can see this. Okay, good. Banking group. Okay, future plans. The banking group participants are not committed to any future phases of work once the POC has been completed. Okay, that's fine. This project will be conducted in a test environment and only use simulated data. It is not intended to advance any specific policy outcome, nor is it intended to signal that the Federal Reserve will make any imminent decisions about the appropriateness of issuing a retail or wholesale CBDC, nor how one would necessarily be designed. The findings of the pilot project will be released after concluding, and that's what I'm waiting for. So the participants here are BNY Mellon, I think that's Bank of New York, Citi, HSBC, Mastercard, PNC Bank, TD Bank, Truist, US Bank, and Wells Fargo. So basically all the big guys. I don't see Bank of America here. The technology, Bank of Wells Fargo. Wait, who owns Bank of America? Is it Bank of America? I can't remember. They shuffle this stuff around so much. The technology, somebody tell me, is Bank of America the parent company, or were they gobbled up by Wells Fargo or something like that? I forget how that whole thing went down. Or did Wells Fargo eat up a bunch of other banks? Somebody in the chat, give me that info. Or place it in the comment box below if you're watching the replay. The technology is being provided by SETL with digital asset, powered by Amazon Web Services. All right, so let's get the players in here. This is the technology players. This is AWS. And then we got SETL, which we're going to show you something in a bit. Swift, the global financial messaging service provider, will also, Swift is participating too in the initiative. Okay, so Swift is also participating, right? That's the International Bank Settlement Mechanism. Also participating in an initiative to support interoperability across the international financial ecosystem. Legal services are being provided by Sullivan and Cromwell. Okay, so cool. Thank you to my super chats. I'm gonna get right to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. Y'all are MVPs as usual. Chad and Jabari holding me down, my guys. All right, so that's the press release. Now let's go back. So what's the rabbit hole I went down? Well, I typed in regulate. What did I type in? Was it this? Okay, yes. So I came here first, SETL, right? This is the first place I landed. This is the company that created this technology, like was mentioned in the press release. And it said here in his paper, The Regulated Internet Value, Tony McLaughlin. So I was like, okay, so I stopped right here and I said, all right, well, we got to know who Tony is, right? So I found him. There's Tony. Wait, no, that's not Tony. Wait, where'd Tony go? I had that tab open. Hold on. I was digging down all these rabbit holes, so I apologize. Let's, I thought I had him in one of these tabs, but I don't. That's fine. I'll bring him up on the screen right now, and I'll show you his profile. You know, we always have to include all of the details, not for show, but for homework, right? The people that want to like take what I'm doing to the next level. You got to put this stuff on your desk. So here he is, Tony McLaughlin. It says right here, emerging payments and business development at Citi. He talks about, and he says right here, CBDC, payments, and also what? Digital identity. Everybody in the chat say, hi, Tony. Hi, Tony. So that's Tony. And he's got a bunch of links here, blah, 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 blah. And here's the regulated internet of value paper, blah, 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 blah. It's at Citi, right? So the funny thing is, let's go back. So the funny thing is I landed on, no, where was it? No. To here? No. Hold on, I'm gonna show you this. Watch this. Hold on. Oh, I had Tony open in that tab. I'm sorry. Here we go. I thought it was linked somewhere else. Anyway, so I typed in regulated liability network, right? Because that's the name of the technology. In fact, let's do this in Google just to see what they pop up. Okay, cool. So you see here on my screen, you have the first search result right here is from Citibank. Does everybody see that? From Citibank. A network of regulated liabilities. Okay? Did everybody see that? Good, good. Now I'm going to hit the link. Page not found. Wait, what? Page not found. Okay, so I'm going to do something different this time than I did before I had. I'm going to type it in the search box and see if anything comes up. Okay, so I searched regulated liability network on the Citibank website, filtered by all insights, says data not found. I don't know, maybe because it's not meant for these purposes. But as you can see here, I clicked that link and, well, yeah, farewell for all my, 404, exactly. So let's use some Boolean operators here. So we'll do NURL citibank.com. And let's see if we can kind of hack Google to find this. Is he up? Is Cyprian up? Where's Cyprian? Yo, tell Cyprian. Chad, tell Cyprian. Please tell Cyprian to DM me on Twitter so I can get him in here, please. Okay, so I added my Boolean operator for NURL, and we get a mention here in some sort of flip book. Okay, so this flip book mentions it right here. Let's zoom in a bit. So this flip book mentions regulated liability network, and it says update. Okay. So there's only two links that now exist. Well, I'm sorry. The only link to exist in the URL at Citibank, which we click the first one, and that one's 404. And this one has a mention of. But thankfully, I do have a copy of the paper. Because, well, SETL, the company that created this technology, well, they have the paper for download here. So we're going to go through the paper. Give me a second to bring that up on your screen. Oh, yeah, WFC bought Wachovia and Bank of America. Oh, and Bank of America bought Merrill Lynch. Okay, yes, all right, yes. Thank you, Chad. Okay, so we're going to go to the paper now. Give me a second to bring this up on your screen. It's here. Boom. Okay. So I have this pulled up as a PDF doc. So we're going to open my PDF doc, and can you guys see my highlights? Wonderful. You guys can see my highlights. Great. So this is where I spent most of my time going over the technology. So here it is. Technology created by SETL, the Regulated Liability Network. Okay, so they're chatting. I'm in Bitcoin Mystery School Telegram live right now, and somebody pulled me up a way back version of the site, and I appreciate them for that. I actually did pull up the way back version of the site, but I didn't care to look at it, mostly because I just wanted to look at the white paper. So here we have the white paper on scalability and performance. Shout out to Bitcoin Mystery School. If you guys haven't signed up for Bitcoin Mystery School, you're just going to be left in the background. Powered by AWS, Jeff Bezos's Amazon Web Services. So here's a table of contents, right? Now, this is a 40-page document, I do believe, or somewhere's abouts. And obviously, I didn't read the entire thing. I just read, the parts that I considered to be the most important, which was section 3, functional description of RLN. So here we have RLN. And I'm not going to get too technical on this, mostly because I'm not too technical myself. But as I dive through this, we're going to have our callers, our blockchain guys, wherever they may be, checking on them now. We're going to have our blockchain. Okay, cool. Rectilian, I'm going to give you the call-in number in just a moment. Stand by. He said Bank of America is now owned by the Yakuza. Shout out to Rectilian. Okay, so what's important here? First of all, let's make sure we can see this great on the screen. Okay, good. So they use different terminology here. So first of all, they use this thing called partitions, right? And it says RLN would be comprised of a collection of issuer partitions, is what they call it. Basically, what it's saying is an issuer or partition operator can be who? A central bank. A central bank, and you'll understand in a moment why I hit that button. Hold on, I got a Van right. Cyprian. Hold on, I might bring my what's the best way to do this? Shut off my camera and shut it off over there. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. So I'm waiting to see if Cyprian can join, and then I will bring him in to talk about this if he is, because he's in another country. All right. So why did I hit the button on that? It says a A partitioner can be a central bank, a commercial bank, or any institution that wishes to record a liability that institution has a token in favor of a token holder. And you'll see how this stuff works in just a moment. So that's the partition holder, right? And it says right here, the Bank of England, as the central bank, runs the primary partition for the GBP. So in this document, you'll see they're basically designed this for the Bank of England, but the technology is being used in the U.S., right? This is globalism at its best. So it says all tokens recorded in this partition are essentially a CBDC. We've been warning people about this. We've been telling people about this, central bank digital currency. And it says this parallels the promises that are made to the bank account holders in the account-based systems that exist today, i.e. a balance in an account at a bank is ultimately a bank's promise that an account holder can redeem their balance in GBP banknotes. But pay attention right here. It says, notwithstanding that most often electronic transfers are used and balances will not be redeemed. This is basic banking knowledge, information that most of you understand about how our system works. And you see they put quotes around redeemed, because what does it really mean to be redeemed when we're dealing in digital assets? Like, who owns that? Who's controlling it? Where is it? Is it still in their system, or is it in your wallet? Right? Okay. So anyway, let's continue. This is so funny. So let's look at transactions. Very important section. Transactions. The RLN will provide the means for token holders, that's you, to execute certain transactions. Certain transactions. That don't mean all. That means some. And we'll find out whose discretion later. And we'll update balances on the RLN. An example would be the transfer of value from a token holder in one partition to a token holder in another partition. This would involve the extinguishing of a liability in the sender's partition and the creation of a liability in the receiver's partition. In token terms, a token would be burned in the sender's participation and issued in the receiver's partition. Depending upon the relationship between the two partition operators, one or more transformations in other partitions may have to occur to settle the transaction. So basically what happens is, if you want to have the transaction, basically what happens is the tokens are burned here in your wallet, disappear, and then they appear over here. There's not actually like a send per se, right? The only thing that's sent is information, right? A series of a string of digits, a string of characters, I should say, digits and letters. So it's going to be burned there and then appear in a new place. That's very important to understand when you deal with this type of technology. So it says, for example, if the two partition operators are both token holders in a common partition, say a central bank partition, the RLN could be programmed to move token holdings equivalent to the newly issued liability from the sender to the recipient partition operator in the common partition to settle the obligation. Okay, all fine and dandy so far. Says the process described above is similar to the correspondent banking system which operates today. It differs, however, in that the RLN will maintain all balances for the token holders, and a token holder will have the ability to interact indirectly with the RLN to see the balances and initiate transactions. So the RLN, aka the network, is going to be holding balances for all token holders across the entire network. And it says here, notwithstanding that, the partition operator will have ultimate control over whether a transaction is allowed to proceed. Who is the partition operator, or who can be a partition operator? The central bank. And what does this say? The partition operator will have ultimate control over whether a transaction is allowed to proceed. Keywords here, ultimate control. Since the RLN maintains all balances, it is uniquely able to atomically perform multiple ledger changes. for the completion of a transaction in a consistent manner and in real time. And if you study the network map function, which we're not going to go in through here, you'll understand why it's basically necessary due to the way that they I'm talking to him. I got him now, chat. I'm DMing him now. Thanks, bro. Shout out to chat MVP once again. Is this? Come on, Twitter update. I need better chat apps. So we'll get to the next section in just a moment. I just want to make sure we get the correct experts in here to explain what's going on. Ba, 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 ba. No. Okay. So let's go to the next section. So it says here, the RLN will publish that proposal to the relevant partition operators, and with all the relevant information attached, each partition operator will need to agree to the proposed changes to its own partition before the changes to all partitions are implemented. So basically, this is sort of like a daisy chain, or it's like a chain. Like, so if I want to send, let's say we use this example, if I want to send money from here to here, all the in-between nodes would have to agree to pass that information along or to approve that transaction, or participation owners, right? So it says right here, each participation operator will need to agree to the proposed changes to its own partition before the changes to to all partitions are implemented. Remember, there's burning and then there's the creation of the token, right? So these are all the changes that has to happen on the ledger. Now, basically what's happening here is just because bank A or partition operator A says this transaction is cool, that doesn't mean that the next person in the chain will say this transaction is approved. They'll say, no, he just said the N-word online, or he just gave a terrible monologue on SNL. Shut this transaction down. Right? This is what we're theorizing here. We're theorizing the potential of the power of the CBDC. Okay, cool. Sadly, only 153 people joined today. I'm sure I'll have much, much more later when we talk about elections. We'll probably double that number, but big brain content, banking content just doesn't get the viewership. You know what the funny thing is? This is the most important topic of our lives. Has always been. Banking has always been the most important topic of our lives. And I'm going to show you really fast. And I talk about this all the time. Pull this up on your screen. Whoops. A little bit of a typo there. Let's not use Reddit as a source. Let's not use Reddit as a source. All right, look at this. I'll put this up on your screen with all of my so we know. Okay, let's put this up on your screen. Let's change this. Hold on. We'll come back to this paper in just a second. So 10 planks of Marxism, aka communism. Number 5, centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. So this piece of technology we're talking about here is Karl Marx's dream. This is his dream, this thing here. So some people would call this capitalism, but it's written into the Communist Manifesto. Right? Okay, let's go to the next piece. So all you have to do is type in 90% of communism is a central bank, and you'll see right here, the establishment of a central bank is 90% of communizing a nation. This quote is attributed to Lenin. Basically, they're saying Lenin says that 90% of communizing a central bank has to do with the establishment of a central bank, centralizing credit within the hands of a state with complete monopoly. That's important. That's important when we use that, when we talk about the fifth. Cooley Bravo's in the house. See, Cooley Bravo's an intellectual, right? He's a rapper from Chicago. And he's an intellectual. So he would be here. You know, it's the people that haven't shown up. They're just not intellectuals. They're getting caught up on the Sam Bankman-Fried story we published last week. They're in somebody else's stream getting caught up on that. They're just a little late. And shout out to people like Cooley Bravo, the early adopters, the people that are ahead of the curve, the real intellectuals in our society. Tuning in. Local celebrity here on the channel. We appreciate you, Cooley. You get much love on this channel. So let's go back. So now let's go to the next section, which I checked out, was signing and verifying. Each partition owner has final authority over its partition, and any change to that partition must be agreed to the partition owner. Now, understand that when transactions happen, the ledger has to be updated across the network. That's how this technology works. Proposals which transfer value between partitions will, therefore, require the agreement of the sending and receiving partitions and any other partitions impacted on the route between the sender and receiver. Agreement will be indicated with the use of verifiable digital signatures. No transaction will be implemented unless all partition owners who are impacted approve the state changes for their respective partition. Now, the rest of this is getting really technical. I have not gotten a chance to dive into that, but I will after the stream. It says this could include identities. Okay, so it says authorization. A proposal generated as a result of a partition owner transaction will include a set of state changes for one or more partitions. Right. Each of those partitions will receive notice of the proposal and must digitally sign the proposal to indicate their agreement. The proposal should include, right here, all information or references to information required for each partition to approve the proposal. This could include identities and other objects such as information regarding the source of funds. So anonymity, out the window. Gone. Poof. Goodbye. Fourth Amendment, burn it up. Doesn't exist. You won't even have the opportunity to invoke it once you use this coin because everything is in their hands. Remember, it says partition owner. Who is the partition owner? As proposed in this document, can be a central bank. That's the partition operator. I'm sorry, partition operator. I call them partition owners. Same thing, right? Who does it say right here? Partition owner transaction. Well, wait, hold on. Partition owner transaction. Wait a second. I think partition owner and partition operator are interchangeable. No, I feel like they just switched up language on me. Wait a second. Wait a second. Partition owner. What's the first instance of partition owner here? Wait a second. Okay, so the first instance of partition owner appears in the signing and verification section. They switched language without notification. I just caught that. A settlement partition is an outside agent selected by a partition owner. I believe partition owner and operator are interchangeable. They gave no notice of this change in language. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's continue. I'm going to assume that partition owner and operator are synonymous. Okay, so assuming that's true, it says no transaction will be implemented unless all partition owners or operators who are impacted approve the state for their respective partition. I think that's a flaw by the writer of this paper. I think they slipped up. I think somewhere along the way in writing this paper, there was a pause. Right? So the network map is a logical network of partitions. Reading here, right? Reading this paragraph right here. It says the network map is a logical network of partitions and is independent from the physical network. Partition is independent from the physical network. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, physical network, right. Which will be designed to be resilient, highly available, and scalable as needed to support the global network of partition owners. Let me add an S to this. So in the network map section, they're referring to these people as partition operators, but then they switch to partition owners. So what, if I had to guess, if I'm playing, corporate forensics here, there was a pause in the creation of this document by the team. And then when they picked back up, the writer started using a separate term for partition owners. Maybe because in his mind, he doesn't see them as operators. He sees them as owners because that's what they are. That's how they operate. If you have total control over a particular partition, then you're technically the owner. You own that. No. He says, is a partition owner just a person that uses the network and operates as a central bank? No. Nope. You are not a partition owner. Just because you have you do not control the partition. Right here it says right here, RLN will be comprised of a collection of issuer partitions. An issuer or a partition operator can be a central bank, or any institution that wishes to record a liability of an institution as a token in favor of a token holder. The activities of the partition operator will be subject to appropriate regulation, thus being a regulated liability. Now, could there become a point where you could become a partition operator? Yes, through certain regulations. Maybe that's what SBF was trying to do. Maybe that's what FTX was trying to do. They wanted to become a partition operator. Maybe one day you'll amass enough power, or you can find the regulation, the ability to meet with the regulation to become a partition owner. But no, I do not believe that they're talking about your everyday average citizen being a partition owner. No, I don't think that's the case. Somebody could explain it to me and tell me otherwise. Glad to be wrong. Absolutely happy to be wrong and have somebody explain this to me. The reason why I say it can't be is because we just searched partition owners and partition owner here, and there's no mention of partition owner or owners anywhere else in this paper at first. Blockchain guys, I'm going to have you call in just a moment. I'm sorry. I'm almost done. You see right here, it says transactions, right? And they call right here, the transfer of value. They call people doing transactions token holders. They don't call them partition owners. They call them token holders. You see right here. I'll highlight that for you. Token holders. Everybody else, the intermediaries, are partition operators or owners. All right, let's get our block. This is a great time, actually, because I'm done now. We're going to get our blockchain technology guys to call in and give us the 411 on my breakdown here. Hold on. We're not doxing anybody. We got to do this right. Let me get my calling number. Boom. Okay, let me get my calling number for my blockchain guys. I'm gonna get my guy on Rumble first because he asked first. All right, Reptilian. Boom. There you go. That's the number right there. So I got Reptilian. What number is he calling in from? Okay. Got him. All right. So I got Reptilian calling in. And then let me get the chat. Boom. Right there. Chat, please make me aware. Please make me aware. All right. Super chatters, real quick. Chad Lemoyne, do you remember when we did our Super Bowl live stream and we saw the crypto commercials and our antennas went up? It was an FTX commercial with Larry David. Oh, word? Yo, we was dissecting the hell out them Super Bowl commercials. We probably did. You got to go back and look at that clip, man. It might be something in there we said. It might be a Hotep's been told you moment. Jabari Judah. Remember that day? Remember that day in November. Oh, my God. Yes. How important is this? How important is this? Let me poke fun at the other people again one more time. You know, the people that are covering the SBF story, you know, the story, SBF, FTX, the story we covered last week. Yeah, wait till they find out about this here. We got a caller coming in.
Call from
Rudy the Vet Russo.
Rudy, what's up, man? You a blockchain guy?
No, Hotep, man. Listen, I love your show. I Hotep and build. I take the moniker Red White Hotep, but I don't buy into that crypto, man. I buy in gold, man.
I gotta let you go. I gotta let you go. I'm gonna call me back, man.
Come on, brother.
Gold,
come on,
gold,
man.
Gold is for cavemen.
But listen, brother, listen.
Let me ask you
right?
this. Let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Cause I can see when somebody else tries to call in while you're here. Where do you keep your gold? Don't tell me the specific location, but where do you keep your gold?
In a safe.
Okay, so you have physical gold in a safe.
Physical gold and silver.
In a safe.
Gold and silver, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, brother. Physical gold and silver.
All right. So hold on. Let me lead this. Let me lead this conversation. Let me lead this.
Okay.
If you have it in your house, you ain't got a lot of it.
Yeah, brother,
wait. Let me talk.
Okay.
If you have it in your house, you don't have a lot of it. Okay.
I don't have a lot of it.
I know you don't. Wait. You gotta hold on. You keep talking.
All right, brother. All right. My bad.
You don't have a lot of it, meaning that you cannot hold a massive amount of wealth in your household. If you did, your entire house would be filled with gold bricks based upon the price of gold as it is today. Now, with that being said, do you understand that the government can come and reappropriate your gold? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay, good.
I mean, yes.
So, okay, good. Now, if you did have the massive amount of wealth that you had and you kept it in a third party system, the bank would just go to them and they'd reappropriate the gold. Let's come to crypto. Sir. Do you understand that the government cannot reappropriate your crypto? Yes or no?
Yes, but I have a question for you, brother.
Okay, now we'll take your question.
The way the system is collapsing, an EMP, I have no access to any crypto. It's all gone.
What is an EMP?
The electric grid goes. If the electric grid goes down,
what
I
is?
have no
wait,
access.
we got to go in. We got to go in order. What is an EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse. Brother.
And what does it do?
Electromagnetic pulse. It will knock out the entire U.S. power grid.
Okay. If the EMP hits,
yes, sir.
Will you be able to access your digital dollar? No,
sir.
What'll happen to the food in your fridge?
I'm a prepper. I'm a prepper, Hotep, man. I'm got at least 2 years worth of food, ammunition, water.
What will happen to the food in your fridge?
I'm not worried about the food in my fridge.
What are you worried about?
I'm worried about.
Let's say doomsday hit today. What are you gonna do? What are the top 3 concerns?
What are my top 3 concerns?
Yes.
Food and shelter aren't one of them. Fighting off bands of raiders and stuff like that. I mean, I'll do the best I can with what I got.
Good. That's the perfect answer. That's exactly what I wanted you to say. You know what you didn't say? Money.
What's that?
Money.
No, money.
You didn't say gold. You didn't say silver. If the grid goes down, none of the money means anything. You know what the new money is? The new money at that point becomes guns and ammo, which is why I tell people if you want to invest in something, you invest in crypto, you invest in stocks and bonds, mostly stocks. And this is not financial advice, and guns and ammo. Because when shit hits the fan, guns and ammo are going to be worth more than anything. So notice you didn't say money. So what? So this is what you call extreme responses. There's an actual technical term for this. So people, what they do is they take something. They'll say like, what if a solar flare hits? What are you gonna do with your crypto then? It's like, bro, if a solar flare hits, money is the least of our concerns. This is what we call small brain takes, my G. And I'm saying this out of love, but it's a very small brain take. It's a very uneducated take to say, what if an EMP hits? If an EMP hits, none of that shit, none of the digital, your Twitter, none of that shit's going to matter. It's going to matter how many guns you got, where you watching, what's your surveillance like? Do you got AI watching your plot of land? Do you have a generator in your backyard? Do you have food stocked up? These are the things that are going to matter. So this is not a valid rebuttal against crypto, and I need you guys to stop using it. Because it's and then we're going to talk about statistics. Statistically, what is statistically? No, hold on. Statistically, what are the statistics of an EMP hitting? Do you know the probability?
No, but hacking.
If you had to take a guess, what do you think the probability of the United States getting hit with an EMP and the entire grid going down? What is your guess of the probability? From 1 to 100%.
Probability?
Yeah.
15%.
15%. So not likely.
All right, but hold on, Hotep. Hold on. I'm with you. That's extreme case. But didn't they just knock out the Colonial Pipeline and shut down a whole oil production facility 2 years ago with a hack? I'm not a computer guy, brother.
I know you're not. I can tell by your responses you're not a computer guy.
I mean, I'm a blue collar.
I can tell.
Truck driving, hard working, hung drywall for 20 years, brother.
I can tell. And this is here's the issue, bro. If it came to truck driving, I wouldn't come to truck driving and be like, "Yo, bro, trucks are dangerous." You'd be like, "What are you talking about? It?" You would tell me. Well, we have certain security measures in place, right?
Right, brother. That's why I watch you, man, for education, brother. That's why I watch every time I can possibly watch. I watch.
I love you. I appreciate you.
I love you too, brother.
I appreciate
Hotep and Bill, brother.
Yeah, listen. I want you to understand this technology. And it's imperative for you to understand this technology, because what they want you to do is they want you to be afraid of it so they can keep control. Yes, they want you to be afraid of crypto. But the thing with crypto is it's very big brained. It doesn't have to be. There are a lot of videos out there, but there's a lot of education an individual has to do to learn how to use this system properly. Owning your tokens, owning your keys, having custody of your stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
As opposed to keeping your stuff on the exchanges and being caught up in the FTX fiasco.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So we want to mitigate the risk of people losing money in crypto because they're trusting people who are funneling money to the Democratic Party.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
For sure, brother. For sure.
We're going to give you the education as much as possible, and this channel points you in the right direction. I suggest starting off with Ciprian's Bitcoin Mystery School. It's going to dumb it down to like a fourth grader understand Bitcoin. It's amazing what this guy does. I would suggest starting there and making your journey start there. That's with Ciprian.
Gotcha. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate all the work, man. I appreciate the channel, man. I love you guys, man. And tell Unc to come back from Treadstone this week, all right?
Most def, bro. Good love.
All right, brother.
Hotep and Bill. I love my blue collar guys. They are very important. They are very important to our nation. Blue collar guys, they don't make them like they used to, too. They don't make enough of them. I got about 15 minutes left here. Hope we can get a blockchain guy to call in. Calling number is 202-596-5631. 202-596-5631. So again, let me reiterate, I have to express, I got to double down. This is the most important presentation, or I should say, I don't know, this is the series. This series is the most important series of presentations. Everything surrounding the central bank digital currency is the most important thing to talk about. When we talked about elections, this wasn't a talking point in elections. People were arguing about abortion, immigration. We got a caller coming in.
Call from Brad Max.
Red Max, are you on the line with Hotep Jesus? Talk to me.
Hey, Hotep, this is Brad Max. How are you doing, brother?
Life is wonderful. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Before we talk crypto, I really want to congratulate you on the show you did on InfoWars recently with our mutual friend, Eliza. You guys nailed that. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for hosting that. Such a big fan of her work. I've come from a similar background. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much. But let's talk about this CBDC, man.
Let's talk about it. Did you see
this is something that we've been trying to avoid by what our company is trying to bring to the table, because we knew that this is coming. There's no way around it. It's happening.
Did you see my presentation on the RLN, the Regulated Liability Network? What are your thoughts on, well, let's start with that discrepancy that I found in the paper, where it went from partition operator, partition owner. Did I get that correct, where I said those two things are pretty much synonymous?
I would have thought that they were initially synonymous. However, it may be that the partitions are actually owned by one entity, and due to scalability in the future, they may be able to delegate that out to other entities. So basically subcontracting to other people that would work as operators. Now, don't take me at that word for that, because I really don't know.
Whoa, wait, hold on. That's insane. So basically what you're saying is, so in the paper, it says the partition operator could be a central bank or the banks, right?
Right.
But there's an owner, you're saying, that is above the operator.
Well, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just simply saying that by the words that are used within the paper, it could be read in that fashion.
So they could be someone above the Fed that is the actual owner of the participation. So you have the owner of the partition, then you have the operator. So this owner could supersede the Federal Reserve. Wow.
It says that the operators could be banking. So obviously the owners would be somebody above the banking corporations. So that would have to be the financial entities in the countries that have the partitions would be my best bet.
Maybe governments?
Possibly, sorry.
Now that makes sense.
I mean, then we start getting into semantics, because we're talking about things like the Federal Reserve. And for people that aren't aware, and I have to keep reminding everybody about this, first of all, it's not federal. Second of all, it's not a reserve. So there obviously are probably bodies in other countries that act in similar fashions that may be owners of the partitions, but that remains to be seen. I did think that it was interesting that the words did change, and the nomenclature used did change throughout the documentation without any explanation as to why.
Without any notice.
Yeah.
Without any notice. They just, popped it on me, right? And
really?
And I'm not, so, all right. So it says here, partition owner. A partition owner is the regulated entity that controls a partition on the RLN. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, wait, this is the appendix. In the appendix, it says Appendix B, glossary of terms, right? Let me just make sure there's an, okay. So assembler, approver. Okay. So Appendix A. Okay, cool. So yeah, glossary of terms in Appendix B of this document. Let's go to that. It has partition owner, but partition operator does not appear here. And it describes a partition owner, and it says here, A partition owner is a regulated entity that controls a partition on the RLN.
Right.
Doesn't that sound like the partition operator?
It does. And so there's obviously, I would like to believe that the operator and the owner are the same entity, but I'm just thinking simply in terms of scalability, because when you're talking about doing transactions at this kind of level, okay, so for example, you've been doing your research, so I'm sure you know that Visa currently processes about 3,000 transactions per second. And we're talking about something that would replace
3,000?
not just Visa, but Mastercard, all of the other smaller cards that people are using. The scalability is a super big issue when it comes to blockchain. This is the reason why crypto up until now has not got a use case. You still can't go into the store and buy something using your crypto. Why? Because Bitcoin is doing 6 transactions per second. 6.
Yeah.
It's not even double digits. It can't keep up with the demand. And so the biggest issue, of course, is this scalability. And there is something beyond blockchain called a DAG, which is something that our company has actually built this, which is completely scalable and can handle an unlimited number of transactions per second. I'm not sure what the CBDC will be using, but that scalability issue could be where we get into those levels of ownership versus operators, because they may have to scale up. It's a phenomenal amount of transactions. And if you think about not just replacing credit cards, but using this as a payment system for everything, that is an insane amount of processing to be done. And so that's why I'm thinking that it's a scalability issue.
That makes sense.
What's really concerning me is the part that you found within that writing that said that they would have to approve the transaction and that they had the final word. I don't know if you have seen it, but Mastercard has just announced that they have a carbon credit Mastercard now available. Basically, the way it works is that everything that you buy on your Mastercard has a credit score associated with your purchase. And once you reach your maximum credit score, I'm not sure it's for the month, it probably is by the month, they shut your card off. Sorry, you've used up your carbon credits for this month. You can't buy any more.
Keep going.
No, it's very, very scary stuff.
That's wild. So
yeah.
The section you're talking about here, I have it on the screen now, said the partition operator will have ultimate control over whether a transaction is allowed to proceed. Now, the part I need you to help me out with, I'm going to go to next. I have a little trouble. I'm still new to this blockchain tech. So let's stop right there. Ultimate control. So I was right before where I said if one partition operator has approved it, but the next one in the chain has not, then basically, one of the parties in the transaction stream can basically shut you down and say, no, you cannot buy lobster with your EBT credits.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the other interesting factors that goes into that, which also was in some of the documentation that you read out, is proof of where the funds came from. So unless you can actually prove that you made this money via your employment or via some kind of credible sale, like, for example, you sold your car, you sold your house, and you have some documentation to prove where that money came from, you cannot spend it on this system either. That's very scary. And that is the reasoning, I believe, behind that wording of ultimate control.
I think that was in the authorization section. This could include identities and other objects such as information regarding the source of funds. The proposal should include all information and references to information required for each partition to approve the proposal. So that's where you're talking about the identity of individuals and the and the source, because it says the source of funds. So you have to also, the source of funds also has to be approved. So if you got this from some unapproved source, then no, you cannot use it for this transaction or a collection of transactions?
This is the complete opposite of everything that blockchain and DeFi, as we understand it right now, stands for. The thing about DeFi is that all of the wallets are anonymous, and you can send Ethereum to somebody else. You can send it to an anonymous wallet from an anonymous wallet, and it doesn't matter how much it is. It could be hundreds of millions of dollars, and it can be sent. People are doing this every day. Even companies are doing this every day. But when this happens, that is no longer an option.
That's wild. Okay, now let's go back to the next piece. Where is it here? Okay, so wait, hold on, let me find it. Wait, where is it? No transaction will be implemented. No, not that part. It was a technical. Oh, here it is. Okay. So it says, since the RLN maintains all balances, it is uniquely able to atomically perform multiple ledger changes for the completion of a transaction in a consistent manner in real time. So let me try to explain that, and you can just correct me where I'm wrong. So basically what it's saying is, due to the network map system, there are multiple parties involved in the transaction. So the network will have to update all of the ledgers in order for the transaction to complete in real time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Why do they use the word atomically here?
I'm thinking that it may have something to do with taking it down to sub-transactions. If they're, and again, this also depends on whether they're going to be using blockchain for this, or whether they're going to be using a directed acyclic graph, which is beyond blockchain because it doesn't use blocks, and you can actually process multiple, for the sake of not having a word for it, blocks, although they aren't actually blocks. But let me break it down easier than that. The way that a blockchain works is that a block is created, and then when it reaches 100%, the next block is created. The reason that we get congestion on a blockchain is because you have to wait for the one block to be finalized before the chain moves on to the next block. When you're working with a directed acyclic graph, that is able to, instead of working in one line, it's like sending out a fishing net to multiple nodes, and they can all be working on what are essentially blocks simultaneously. And so this may be something that they're looking at doing. I don't know what kind of system they are using. I did see somebody in the chat say that it is not a blockchain, so perhaps they are looking at directed acyclic. But it may just be that in order to avoid congestion, because remember, we're talking about insane amount of transactions, thousands and thousands of transactions every second. It may be that they cannot send in a linear blockchain fashion. They may have to send it out to multiple nodes where they will have to do the transactions simultaneously in cohesion with each other. Sorry,
what is
technical. I'm sorry to get so technical.
No. What is the name of that technology you said as the alternative to blockchain?
It's a directed acyclic graph.
Oh yes, I did read about that.
So there are a couple of projects out there that are currently using this technology. However, they're not using it for transmittance of financials. They're using it more for data. So like IOTA and other people like that, they are using it for like medical records, just because it's data that needs to be shared, across hospitals and doctor surgeries and things like that. So far, the only company I know that's doing anything with it financially is our company. So we're trying, but we knew that the regulation is coming. Yeah, we knew that the regulation is coming, and basically what we wanted to do is to create a system that can go in underneath. Now, you were talking about at the beginning of your show that this looks like a layer 2 solution.
Yeah.
We believe that what would work better is a layer 0 solution. So what we built is a chain that goes in underneath everything else and can pick up the other chains. So the users, if they want to use Bitcoin, if they want to use Ethereum, Solana, whatever, it's completely scalable. We could add tens of thousands of different types of crypto. Will ride on the back of this system. It keeps things decentralized. That's the important part. So even though we are registered with FinCEN, which is like the anti-money laundering arm of the government, so we're registered with them. We're working towards being fully regulated. We wanted to be a step ahead, although it looks like they're picking up the pace now of this centralized system. Although we ourselves would be regulated and centralized, it would still allow the users to have whichever crypto they want in their anonymous wallets and send it across our chain. So that's what we're hoping to do. But these guys are working so fast. It's very difficult.
So it says here, SETL in collaboration with AWS has tested an approach that leverages the advancement in cloud computing as well as use of a blockchain to create a new network. So they do say they're using blockchain here. There is no mention of the DAG, right? There's no mention of a DAG here. But they do mention blockchain several times throughout this thing. So they are using blockchain technology. They do admit to using that. Damn, I had another thought while I was looking that up. Oh, you mentioned layer 2 solutions. Doesn't this solution look like Lightning Network?
They may be using something similar to that. It has to be a layer 2 solution because none of the chains that are currently layer 1s can handle these kind of transactions.
Yeah. When I looked at this,
Ethereum cannot handle it. Bitcoin cannot handle it. It would have to be something like Lightning, Polygon, something like that. They can do tens of thousands of transactions.
Or Syscoin. Syscoin, I think they're like 60,000 or something like that.
Nice. That's impressive.
Yeah. Jag he's amazing. But yeah, this ROLN, right? When you talk about, having all these different intermediaries involved in the transfer of a payment, this is exactly, let me pull up the Lightning Network diagram here so people can see how similar this is, because it looks just the same idea. I feel like it's the same concept. It's just, it's layer 2 solutions, but let me see. Let me pull up a diagram here. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. Let's pull this one up on the screen. Oh, fuck. But yeah, and I'm doing this for our people that are new to all of this.
Absolutely, because a lot of this is very technical, and that's where a lot of people just kind of shut down when it comes to crypto. Everybody's impressed by the potential to make money, but getting into the technology side of it can be very intimidating for people. Yes,
it can be very intimidating. I mean, we're talking hours of research here. I'm about 12 hours in, and I still don't know anything. But I know more than the average Joe. I know more than the average.
You're doing really well. I was like, wow, you learned all that in 24 hours.
Less than 24 hours. I've been studying like nonstop. I stopped studying everything.
Bitcoin month 1.
I appreciate you. Well, I had a lot of knowledge before from the technical side. So, for this, some of it was refresher. And here we have on the screen right here. This is, wait, no, that's not Lightning Network. Why am I using Brave browser? Jesus Christ, their search is the worst. Better off with Yandex. All right, let's see here. Maybe that was a valid diagram. Oh, that's Lightning Bolt Network. I don't want that. Sorry. I'm sorry, Brave. I shouldn't talk shit about you. Here we go. Here's a good diagram. So here's a diagram of the Lightning Network. And you see this guy over here on the left wants to send money to the guy on the right, as you can see, right? And it's floating through the different nodes.
Right.
Right. And these nodes are basically updating the contract. This is not happening on layer 1 until the channel is closed, and then they settle it in the next block. And that's when the channel is closed and, everything's finalized. But in the meantime, this channel stays open as long as there's Bitcoin in either of the quote unquote, not even wallets at this point, it's just paper, it's number on a virtual paper, right?
Right.
So
there's a very interesting comment here in the chat, comes from Inside of the Ages, who asks, are they going to let us transfer our money to our kids or ourselves? And therein lies the poison pill, because this gets back to that proof of source that we were talking about earlier. When you're talking about things like sending money to kids, especially, if your children are minors, now you're talking about needing proof of digital identity. Otherwise, how do you confirm that that is your child, as opposed to randomly sending money and laundering it to another account or a third party? So it's always demand driven. These kind of technologies, when governments are trying to implement new rules, it's like problem, reaction, solution.
Yep.
The problem is, I want to transfer money to my child, but all my money is in a CBDC. The reaction, people go to the government and say, we need you to fix this. The government solution, of course, is, well, hand over all your identity, hand over your children's identities, and then we will match them up and you will be able to send money to your children. And that's how you bring in an identity network on top of the financial.
What'd you say your name was again?
Radmax.
Radmax?
Mm-hmm.
Radmax. I love it. Radmax, I got to get out of here. You have been an absolute treasure on my show today. Thank you so much. I hope to hear from you again soon.
Thank you so much. I'll be dropping you a DM on Twitter as well, so we can stay in touch. Like I said, we have mutual friends in common, so I'd like to stay in touch with you. But thanks for hosting this. This really is the most important subject right now. Most people don't even know that it's happening.
Yes.
It'll be too late by the time they do. So all I can say is to listeners who are out there, support DeFi, support chains like Para. We are trying very hard to be that middle ground of, yes, we will be regulated, but yes, we will allow you as users to use whichever chains you want. So please just support us.
Absolutely. Now, I appreciate
support
that.
Yourself.
Where can they get more information about that?
You can find it at Paraworks. That's our token. Currently, it's an ERC20, but eventually we'll probably shift over to our own network. But right now, you can catch us at paraworks.io, PARAWERX.io.
Okay.
Or simply para.global.
All right, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Thank you. I appreciate you for calling in, Hotep and Bill.
Okay, best of luck to everybody out there, and thank you again, Hotep.
Bless. Wow, what a call. Yes, excellent caller. Kamar Daniel, great call. Exactly, bro. Real quick before I get into the super chats, my phone's going crazy over here. Like, the most important topic. This is where I left off before we had our caller. The most important topic surrounding Americans is the least talked about topic. Tonight, I'm going to do a symposium on the election results. Tune in for that. I will have double the amount of people on that, and you'll notice the difference. The easier something is to understand, the more people will attend. The harder it is, the less people understand. But knowledge is freedom. Knowledge is freedom. If you don't ingest the big brain content, you will enjoy less freedom than the people who do. If you don't ingest, if you don't force yourself, for example, I'm going to be moderating a panel on blockchain scalability in 2 weeks. I don't know shit about blockchain scalability, but I will in 2 weeks. Oh, you better believe it. I'm not going to get on the stage and they're going to make me look silly. You must be out your goddamn mind. I'm going to be an intermediate expert in 2 weeks. Is it hard? What did I say on the Joe Rogan Experience? There's no such thing as hard. There is no such thing as hard. Hard equals new. Multiplication of two single-digit numbers once upon a time was hard when you were a kid, but after you did it 3, 4, 5 times, it's like second nature. It's like second nature. Adding was once hard. Subtracting was hard. But once you did it a few times, algebra was hard. But once you did it a few times, calculus was hard. But once you did it a few times, chemistry, physics. But after you do it a bunch of times, it's just like, oh, second nature. Like anything in life. Fixing a car is hard until you do it 100 times. So hard equals new. Dive into the material. Take your time. I suggest starting at Bitcoin Mystery School with Cyprian. Type in bitcoinmysteryschool.com. He's going to lay it out for you like nobody in this world can lay it out to you before. Ever. I was in awe at how simple he made me understand blockchain technology, or how mining works, I should say, because that's something we covered. And we actually do mining in the class. You will mine, quote unquote, mine Bitcoin in the class. It's amazing. And you don't need a supercomputer or anything like that. You know, your regular, whatever computer you're on now, your phone, you can do it right there on your phone. It's amazing. It's amazing. So get into the information, financial information, little by little, chunks. The thing is, you have to be consistent with it. When it comes to learning, you got to be consistent with it. You know, like when I'm studying this technology now, it's a little bit throughout the day. You know, I opened up a paper, Jag has a Medium. I suggest you guys reading Jag Deep's paper, the Syscoin paper, Medium. He has a Medium channel. You guys know medium.com, Syscoin. So I'm reading the Syscoin paper, and I get like one paragraph in and I'm lost. So I click on a term, I look it up, and then that term leads me to another term. So now I have 5 tabs open from reading one sentence in this paper, but I've gathered that information. Now I come back to the original paper, and then get to the next paragraph, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't know what this means. And then that one leads me to 3 more tabs open. So I read through all those tabs. Then I come back to the paper. I think right now I'm probably at like paragraph 6 of his paper, and I have like 50 tabs open in my phone trying to, obviously hyperbole, it's not 50, but I have a bunch of tabs open and I'm trying to understand all these different things. But it's crazy. The timing is amazing, because had I not been on those studies, I wouldn't have been able to read this paper that came out today. I'd have been lost. I'm like, what does this thing say? I would have been lost. I wouldn't have understood. And that's the trick. That's what the global powers that be, the power brokers, this is what they depend on. They depend on you not knowing anything. They depend on your ignorance. So once you shatter ignorance, they have less power. Knowledge is power. So we got to dive into this information. That's the moral of the story. Jimmy Das Hotep, he says, salute HJ, salute Hotep Nation. This was a created issue with FTX. Crypto pain is how they will push the government digital currency. Okay, so let me go ahead and make fun of people. You know, I'm happy people are talking about it, though. Please do not get me wrong. I'm glad people are finally talking about the SBF FTX information that we covered last week. I'm glad they're talking about today and yesterday and throughout the weekend. Kudos to them. People need to know about this, not only the democratic dealings, but the technology, cryptocurrency, and how this could be a Reichstag burning in order to bring about regulations so they can give us the CBDC, similar to what you saw today in our presentation. Inside the Ages, he said, I'm mad our grandparents let them replace gold with paper. They print ballots, they print money, they control. I'm not exactly opposed to paper fiat, but we'll talk about that another day. Monique, sadly, people will catch on later to this. Yeah, so the people that are on SBF, FTX, maybe they'll talk about this pilot program 2 weeks from now or whenever Biden talks about it. Who knows? But they might not ever talk about it. You know, some of your pundits and, you know, influencer and grifters, you know, they might not talk about it. You know, grifters like myself, we are covering it, you know, because this is the world we live in. Or, you know, we study money. I wrote a book on money. Please go get my book. Patriot. This is, talk about studying and understanding. Go get the Patriot Report. You want to understand money? Go get yourself a copy of the Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. Go get a copy. It's on Amazon. It's on my website, hotepjesus.com. The Patriot Report. You got to get a copy of this. This is going to give you It's going to tell you about your rights. You want to learn, you want to know about your rights? And the Supreme Court, go get that book ASAP. Okay, let's continue. Chad, he said the other SB commercial was Coinbase. Uh-oh, next domino. Yo, I told my homie, I said, you better get your shit on crypto.com. We was just talking about this last week. It was like, yo, what exchange you use? I'm like, yo, you better get on crypto.com. And then you saw them moving money around this weekend. Oh boy. Rudy the Vet Russo. Well, this is not a jab at crypto.com. Let me just say, disclaimer, it's just all CEX, all central exchanges. Get your money off of it, get your crypto off of it, own it, put it in your wallet where it's safe, because you never know when one of these companies might go into insolvency. So there's no jab to crypto.com. Just telling people about the difference between CEX and DEX. Rudy the Vet Russo, he said Bitcoin was a balloon launched by elites to get to this point. The minute the dollar wasn't backed by gold, the money became worthless, and crypto is too. I get that. But that is exactly what the globalists want you to believe. They want you to believe that they created Bitcoin. Just facts. They want you to believe that. So you run from it, and they can enslave you with the CBDC. And I said this on Sonny Johnson's show on Patriot Radio. The greatest trick they ever pulled was making conservatives afraid of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It's the greatest trick they ever pulled. You thought the gold was a great trick? No, this was the greatest trick. Running from crypto, running from Bitcoin. You have no idea how much sovereignty exists in crypto and Bitcoin until you do the studies. You have no idea. Somebody asked, where is Satoshi? Well, if I created Bitcoin, I'd probably be anonymous too. TDN 77 49.99. Damn, big boy super chat. TDN, he said, way to be all over this. Happy to see more of us out there at Twin Shores Financial. Everyone do your homework. Appreciate you, bro. Leroy Jenkins, he said tuition, paid his tuition. Shout out to Leroy. He ain't grifting. He paid his tuition today. Appreciate you, bro. Got to keep this channel going. TDN 77, he said, Hotep, can we share what everyday people should do for themselves? Not financial advice, just raising awareness. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm going to continue to talk about that. I'm going to continue to talk about what every day I got to go, but I'm going to talk about what everyday people need to do for themselves. We talk about all the time on this channel. We will continue to do so. And that's to at Twin Shores Financial. Appreciate you. Chad Lemoyne said 9/11 gave us TSA and DHS, FTX and SBF going to give you CBDC and ESG. Yes. CJ, he also paid his tuition $19.99. Shout out to all my people that paid tuition today for these great learnings. I appreciate you. I'll be back later on tonight to talk about the elections and why I think something, people are blaming, they're saying, there's some fraud or happening or something like that. I'm going to tell you why I don't think that is the case and why there's something else more nefarious than that happened. And we're going to cover that tonight, later on tonight, maybe 9-10 p.m. Depends if I feel like competing with Tim Pool or not. And what else I got going on with the kiddies. Thursday, Uncle Hotep is back off suspension. We suspended him for the sins of Kyrie and Ye. So he will be back this Thursday. He's completed all 6 side missions. And then Friday, we have Scott Horton for an exclusive Rumble chat. That'll be exclusively on Rumble. And I will put the audio on Spotify and Apple thereafter. So if you're here on YouTube, you're going to miss out. We're going to have to be able to talk frankly because we're talking about foreign policy and wars and who knows what YouTube allows us to say. So that will be a Rumble exclusive. Shout out to the homies. My name is Hotep Jesus. I'll be back for another presentation in the future. In the meantime, I want you to Hotep and build.